welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Broiler Chicken Show. Back. Merry Christmas, all you people. Happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa. Happy holidays. Happy Festivus of holiday for the rest of us. Actually, I could totally go for airing of grievances. Mind you, I think that's basically what these videos are, right? Where Brian sits there and rants for an hour or two. Isn't that the airing of grievances? So I guess I have a Festivus every day of the week. Anyway, I would imagine we're probably going to have a relatively limited audience here, but got my cohort here, Chris. Actually, Chris and I were wanting to maybe get in on some of this Bancor, but looks like it's double bottom now. I don't know whether he's got the balls to pull the trigger on the W or not. It'll be interesting to see what happens here going forward. Well, crypto market just keeps churning its way higher here, right? Got the crypto dashboard. This is behind our paywall. This is our crypto page for the good people at TRI. And as well, and the reason why is because I don't know why it is, but did notice a few gremlins creeping into the system. I don't know whether we're on a retrograde or not, but you can see this our front page looks like a mess. So my apologies to site members. I guess this is our basic dashboard, but oh my goodness, what a mess. So I don't know why these computers do this stuff. Anyway, our CTO, Stuart, is trying to do the whole Christmas thing with his family. So unfortunately, I asked him, can I impersonate you and how do I do that? And never did get a response back. So my apologies to everybody on the site. But overview page not looking very good here today. My apologies. I think what we'll probably do is maybe just speak off of the newsletter here today. Chris and I worked together to put this together before the show here. It's interesting to see that we got into one of those dangerous situations where everything in crypto was all moving up there. And it did look like maybe things calmed down a little bit. We were starting to sort of base a bit. And then now the crypto market is caught a bit again. We're heading back up. So interesting to see that the breadth has turned back positive here. Commentary about Bitcoin itself. Primarily, we've been sort of, it almost feels as though like somebody has told the market to park itself. In fact, actually, I even sort of put these kind of tweets out beforehand, but I don't know, the stupid Twitter, the way that you know who's gonna fuck this up. You can't even really retweet this stuff now. And I don't know whether I'm doing this correctly or not. It's just a shit show. But anyway, Festivus, that seems appropriate. But basically, there's your trading range on the lower time frames. As I said, seeing the way that the market has just been parked up here, this is pretty abnormal for Bitcoin, unless, of course, you are some sort of nefarious person with a very, very deep pockets and you have an agenda and you want to manipulate the market to your liking. Very rarely do you see a situation where price just compresses like that for a prolonged period of time. But if anything, what should happen here is, this is what they call a narrow sideways channel. Looks like about, let's call it I don't know, 43,000, 44,000 to the upside, 42,000, 43,000 to the downside, whichever way we break. You just go with that. And I think I've told you recently that as long as I keep seeing, where's probably the best place to show you this? Pop back on over here. As long as I keep seeing this kind of price action, I can't call. I think you're kind of asking for trouble calling tops. You're just gonna get your head handed to you. And the irony of it all is that actually this is very technically appropriate. There's nothing really new going on here. Certainly nothing new under the sun. You know, half of my job, if there is a job, is to just try and show you repeatedly over and over and over and over how this stuff is all basically just the same kind of behavior, just repeated ad nauseum. So whether it be things like W's and indicators, I mean, look at these beautiful W's that all came in here, W and OBV, W and RSI, W and Willie. I don't really see it in the MACD, but yeah, well, I suppose it could. Not really the best MACD picture. This is a weekly price chart too. 50% of entire ranges. Whoops. I mean, this is like bread and butter WD GAN, high, low, 50% level. In fact, actually, the Bitcoin chart, we've talked about how this fractal top is probably the target for this most recent rally. So what date's that? That was March, the end of March 2022. And this was the end of March 2022. So it's like the whole market is going after that pivot right there. And I don't see any reason why this thing won't hit that level as well. It's pretty logical. I would say in the short term, in the lower time frames, things maybe getting a little ahead of themselves. I was tweeting out like lower time frame setups, just like hourly setups. That we're working away here. This is actually an interesting one in that some people were asking me recently, how would you sort of play a move like this, where you're kind of like, you know, you're very far along on the move up. I mean, I think we can pretty comfortably say that, you know, probably the higher time frame objectives are a test of this high 50% level. We also have a fog and bomb floating out there. It would make sense, you know, look left. Where's the most significant place where they last sort of stop the bull? It'd be up in this 130, 140 area. So how do you, you know, let's say you're coming along halfway through this, and how do you play this move up here? I mean, you see where the W's are, so you see where you're supposed to be long. It's a little bit more advanced, and actually, it's probably a really good example of that in things like that link. Actually, there was another one. I don't know what I did with it, but they're also good examples of sort of breaking these cycles down into smaller pieces. I think actually I have it over here. There was the MATIC, right? Here's the MATIC. So, you know, we could probably do the same thing on the SOL. But hopefully you see the similar logic here. So there's the 50% level of the entire range. I don't see any reason why this one can't get up into that 50% level. It's just TA 101. There's the original double bottoms, and very pretty double bottoms, triple bottoms, quadruple bottoms, bottoms within bottoms. I mean, your job is, if you fancy yourself a technician, your job is to try and hunt for these W's. That's the key to this game. Try and also see if you can find them down at bottom ends of ranges at or below 78.6s. I mean, that's just it. That's everything I'm trying to teach you people. This is sort of the initial trade. I like to call this the value trade down, below, at or below reload zones. Right? That's value, technically speaking. But okay, so now, we all know that we're going up here to this 102. The market is exploded higher. How are you going to participate in this thing to see if you can capture some of this move? And in this particular case, the bot actually wants to get all the way up to 120 there if it works. So end up sort of breaking this into AB equals CDs. So you have like two steps to this. Then you want to hunt a number of higher lows. So that way you've got previous sort of whales that stop the bear sort of defending your trade. So you put your stop loss order below these levels and break this A, B, C, D, the CD leg into quarters. And ideally, you want to risk 1 quarter to try and make 3 quarters. But this is a good example of, well, I missed the original bottom, Brian. How do I participate in this along the way? Well, what you got to do is you got to break the move into pieces. So that same conversation of the SOL. I mean, you can see where the W's are, and hats off. There was the guys Colin and his buddies. I went on their show. I don't know whether they were blockmates or hero or a combination thereof. I do know one of the blockmates guys, Dan Blockmates is his name, the TRI site. He joined the site to see if he could get his sort of trading plan and his small business all nice and crisp. And I think that's something that we do really well at TRI. I suppose shameless plug. Actually, I did notice somebody actually tell me that they could not access the rationalinvestor.com website. No idea about that. Again, this is kind of like the dashboard, really weird demons popping into the computers. It seems to work fine for me, and anybody who's watching this, I don't know, maybe do what I did. I don't even know what I did. But anyway, school program here. This was the shameless plug starting in January. And I think, the little old lady approach to investing is one approach, but actually there's a whole bunch of different sort of, criteria that goes into actually creating a small business of trading. But I really like the way the teams put together this promotional page on the actual school program. They keep tinkering with it though, eh? Like every time I come on here, it looks slightly different. Almost looks like it's maybe a little bit of information overload here. But if you want to learn about the program, holy moly, you sure got a lot of stuff to chew on here. Lots of testimonials, and I think we've done a pretty good job. We have a pretty good reputation in this space. So if you are watching this afterward, and really what this is designed to do is it's designed to teach you how to effectively build and run a small business of trading. And I don't know whether enough people in this space actually sort of drive home this part of the equation. I mean, there's plenty of places that'll tell you, hey, do this with this squiggly line, you'll make money all the time. That's not really what we do. We're going to teach you how to build the framework of your business. A big part of our introductory level 1 program is what we call eating our vegetables, where we have to learn things about like what is appropriate risk management, where are we on long-term cycles, introduce you to the money masters. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with that. And the absolute scam of a society that we live in. You can either call it a scam and bury your head in the ground and sort of pretend that it doesn't exist. And a lot of people in our society that do that. But if you do want to come and actually participate in the market and be well informed, I think a big part of our education is simply removing the bullshit, removing the fluff, removing, I hate to say it, the con job. Because really, since 1913, we live in basically a fraud of a society. Um, and, there's one particular class of our society. I don't know whether class is the right word, but these bankster crooks. And this goes all the way back to the days of Jesus Christ. So, seems appropriate given this is his birthday. I guess the evening of his birthday. Well, I think he was born in October or something. So this is the Catholic Church hijacking JC's day to try and convince all the pagans who are celebrating things like solstice and the shortest day, the longest night, and the change in seasons and stuff. Yeah, that's another conversation for another day. Anyway, point of the matter here is our education program, I think, gives you a very candid, very real look at the world and how to set yourself up with the expectation of actually making money running your small business of trading. And I don't think a lot of people in the market actually hit that hard enough, that we're not here just to participate. We're here with the expectation of actually making money from this. And remember, like 90%, if not a higher number, of all people that play this game lose money at this. I mean, look how embarrassed that sailor guy was. He's supposed to be Mr. Smarty Pants. God, he was made to look like a fool. How about that Raoul Paul guy? God, he looked like a total idiot there when the whole market collapsed. I mean, how many people bought hook, line, and sinker into that stupid SBF guy? We don't do that at TRI. We don't do any of that kind of shit. Number one, we don't have a vested interest in shelling any particular product or anything to you. So as a result, there's no conflict of interest. I don't care whether you sign up. I mean, I think our testimonials of how we've changed lives, and you all know, I mean, anybody listening to this, it just sounds like a broken record. You know why I'm doing all this. And, sadly, actually, I just had my father pass away. So now he's sitting on the other side. And I have a funny feeling that the good Lord sat down with my father and said, "Look, your read on your son was wrong. Let's take a look at what he's actually done with his life and where you think that he was lying to you, and let's just correct you, sir." I don't know. That's my hope. And I suppose when it's my turn to go over to the other side and do my life review, at the very least, we'll just hope they're proud of me. It's the only thing that I aspire to, is that when it's my time to stand in front of my maker, I say, "You know what, Brian? You did okay." So that's why I'm here doing this. And the irony of it all is that if you actually follow the process correctly, the money's kind of just irrelevant. It takes care of itself. Just be a demonstrator of best practices. If you can just force yourself to go in and just buy weekly W's, I mean, this game's actually pretty easy. The only problem is it's damn difficult to have the patience and discipline to wait for these damn W's to come in. And of course, all the guys, when you see price just going straight up like this, and frankly speaking, I think this is happening now. Anybody coming in and buying SOL here now is just asking for trouble. I had a gentleman recently get all upset at me because he just came on the site. This is a weekly price chart. He just came on the site over the past month or two, right? So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. I think he came on the site here sort of the middle of November. And I told him, "Look, you can see where the W's are. This is where you're supposed to be long. You're coming on the site now. You're going to have to learn patience and discipline, where you can't really chase this." And I'm sure he's probably looking at me going, "Well, Brian, if I just bought there, I would have done fine." Yeah, but at the same time, too, could have very easily seen this come all the way right back down. And had you bought there, you would be in big trouble. So I can't endorse any of you to come in on the buy side there. Can't do it. Sucks. You can see clearly where you're supposed to be long if you like this name. We had a lot of people at TRI, and like I said, with the Blockmates guys, they were super uber bullish of Solana. Just the only problem is you can't come in now. You've missed the move. You have to have the patience and discipline to wait for this thing to settle down and start consolidating. Maybe it's going to set up a bull flag where we take another leg higher. But my hunch is we're probably coming near to the end of this move, not the beginning. And things like these 50% retracement moves, they had to happen. This is just very natural technical. In fact, we talk about Bitcoin, you can see, and this is what I'm fearful of, is you can see how history is kind of repeating itself. This is almost exactly the same thing. This is just rewind the clock 4 years ago. It's almost identical. This is the same thing as, that's that Solana chart, but it's basically the same thing. People are now coming onto the website right now, and, there's 50% level. Maybe we're like right here, same sort of, kind of same thing with that Solana kind of thing. And they're saying, well, I could buy right now, and if this thing just keeps going up, I'll do great. But you can see even here, relatively close to 50% level. And if they bought here, they might be sitting here 3 or 4 months from now, cursing my name and calling their lawyers, getting ready to sue. And so that's why I can't endorse you coming in on the buy side when you clearly can see where the W's are. Same thing, if this is the Bitcoin chart, it's basically the same story. I mean, the W here, unfortunately, is very difficult to see. They didn't make it easy, that's for sure. But that's the whole point of these things called reload zones. If we are at or below 78 points or 61.8 to 78.6 of the previous range, I really don't have a problem if you fancy yourself a little old lady that you come in and just slowly nibble away here, adding whatever the name is to your portfolio. And then, of course, if it does do something crazy like double in price, not a bad idea to let half of it go and create that risk-free trade. But, I guess the point is there's the 50% level of this entire range. Here we are. Can I endorse the public coming in to buy Bitcoins right here? No. I mean, here's exactly the same story. 50% level. In this case, we did spike all the way up to 61.8, but like I said, had to give almost all of it back over the coming year. And if we look at the previous cycle, it's very similar. This one was quite dramatic, though. There's the 50% level there. So, and actually, you could even make the argument that we did actually get all the way up into reload zones, 61.8 there. But you can even see following that event, and this is what bothers me, is if we go there, down to there, it's a 40% drop in price from the peak to whatever this low was. Can you handle that kind of volatility? I bet if you came in and bought around 50% level, 6.8, and you saw this dump, you would be pretty pissed off. So anyway, I mean, history never really repeats itself exactly. They say it often rhymes. What I would just simply say is we have had a pretty nice move up. If anything, I got to be pretty impressed with Bitcoin that it has been able to move up here as much as it has, given the fact that, the powers that be in our society are actually trying to slow things down. That's probably a good sign for Bitcoin down the road. I guess I'm just wondering whether here, we do have the halvening event coming up. And it just feels as though there's a bit of a trap being laid here. We do have obviously these big fundamental events that they're trying to drive price into. That Mr. Fink guy wants his Bitcoin spot ETF badly, so he can come in and fuck around with the price all he wants. I have a feeling, though, that it's probably less to do with market manipulation and more to do with he sees, keep in mind the early 1980s was after the gold market had its huge run. So if you look at something, I mean, these crypto stocks just like uber bullish. Um, but if you look at something like gold, actually investing in gold following that cycle peak in the 1980s actually wasn't really that great of an idea. So if we go back, way back, going. So there is the 1980 peak, and you can see investing in gold through like 1983, 1984. I'm a little concerned that, we've had the Bitcoin bounce, which is kind of like what you're seeing here. And then notice this thing had to roll right back over and head right back down and test its sort of panic dump lows. Then we rallied back up to the top here over this. I could very easily see a similar situation with Bitcoin here. But I think probably more important, just keep in mind these dates, right? 1981 to 1987. Buying gold itself, I did okay. 250, 300 the downside, 500 the upside. So, half decent move. I mean, not life-changing event kind of move. But notice what did do really, really well through that period is you actually look at the gold stocks themselves, the companies that are in the business of mining for the metal and taking it out of the ground and bringing it to market. Notice they had a very different period. There's the sort of 1981 and a consolidation. And then, wow, look at that move into sort of 1987. I have a funny feeling that it's going to be this kind of environment that we're sort of facing here. Could we be in sort of this part of the cycle? Notice 1983, there's December 83, and then we had to roll over sort of the beginning of 84 in through August, and then that set the base for this absolute insane move. I could very easily see a scenario like that. And in fact, I think I even tweeted it out. Where would that be? I wonder. Mr. Larry Williams, although I don't know whether I got the actual correct image tweeted out. I think I might have fucked it up. But generally speaking, it's what I'm looking for. So it's not outlandish. But generally speaking, I'm concerned that I think there is going to be a substantial pullback in that sort of, let's call it, I don't know, midwinter into spring, and then notice coming out of August, the market bases and then takes off. Why? Well, we've got this big political event coming up here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have a little bit of sort of basing in the broader markets. Notice like this, notice that's July, August. This was an election year as well, 1984. This was basically the second term for Ronald Reagan. And this is where Reagan sort of just gave up and sort of turned everything over to the bankster crooks. Because remember, they actually tried to assassinate him right in here. And he learned his lesson very quickly. Oh, I better not screw with the banksters or they'll kill me. And trust me, they have a long history of doing that. I wouldn't be surprised. I doubt it because nobody listens to an idiot like me. But if I started to get a following and we actually got some traction with all this talk about money masters and all that crap, I bet you they would take a poke at me really quick. Or they'd find some stupid reason to throw me in jail and, have some guy in jail murder me through anal probing or something along those lines. Anyway, there's a nice fun image for you. And I suppose it's comments like that that will keep me on the out of the mainstream. Can you imagine somebody saying that on CNBC or CNN or something like that? I don't think so. Anyway. All right. So the point being that, I've been using this as a framework of what to expect. I have a funny feeling. And of course, our money cycles, um, you guys have heard me say this 100 times, so it's not really like this is anything new. Like you can already see even the browsers sort of like, okay, this is a bit cliche, Brian, but anyway. Just understand that coming into the latter part of this decade, this because I think that this decade is basically the same as the 1940s. You can see all of a sudden all hell breaks loose here. The sort of the latter part of this was 1946. Interesting how this was the end of the war, and you can see how something happens here and I guess the absolute best times it gets. And it's interesting with the election coming up there. Well, there's a lot of people that are talking about how we're potentially going into deflation right now. And I do think that sort of the first quarter of 2024, it's going to be like this, where um, I don't know whether we actually get negative prints on inflation. I don't think we will. I think the US economy is actually extremely strong. And the US economy is going to be doing perfectly fine. Interestingly enough, things in the US economy, even like the housing industry, has actually started to balance itself out. Uh, but that's not where the problem is. The problem is the international markets. And the way, I was the other day, I went on at length, and my apologies to all our German brethren, but I went on about how when I was in Berlin and I was in Germany, I looked around and it just felt like people were living way beyond their sort of station in life. Everybody was driving a brand new car. There were like literally no old cars on the road. So that means that everybody was loaded up with credit. And of course, this was a whole decade where interest rates were basically nothing. And that was cyclically very appropriate. That was exactly what was supposed to happen through that period. But that was an anomaly. That wasn't normal. That was abnormal. And now I see that basically the cost of money, like as soon as we got through that Jupiter Saturn cross, like instantly the cost of money just instantly reversed. I mean, it was shocking how quickly the whole sort of interest rate money equation was brought back to normal. And what was fascinating was even Jerry in I think it was December of 2020. He was even pleading, just get us through year end, just get us through year end, just get us through end. And of course, Jupiter, Saturn cross was all through that. He knew full well that the whole thing was a con job, and that as soon as they got through year end, all of the interest rate differentials would go back to normal. Americans would have the highest rates, and everybody else would follow suit, and be good hegemony bitches. But they had to get through that cycle pivot first. So anyway, point being, they got through the cycle, and this was the similar cycle back in 1930s and 1940s. This was the Great Reset for them. This was the what's the name of it? Jeez, slipped my mind. Bretton Woods was through here, 46, 47 kind of idea. I have a funny feeling this is the same Great Reset bullshit that Klaus has been trying to shove up our asses. And if anything, it's fantastic to see that the world has just violently rejected him. Um, if anything, what I'm also hearing too, though, is you can't stop any of these people. You can't stop any of this. They have, I mean, obviously they control the world economy. So they have an agenda and they're just carrying it out. But, this whole sort of notion of free money, MMT, and all that's gone away. It's all bullshit. It was all garbage. And I've said repeatedly, there is no way in hell the Rothschilds, as a private entity, are going to endorse things like communism. It's just not going to happen. they will go out of their way to destroy the communists so that they can maintain their monopoly. And they're making money like it's going out of style. And now, the Western societies, we're all bitches. And not me, neither a debtor nor a lender be. I don't participate in any of that. But you all are familiar with this concept, golden handcuffs. You've got like literally a whole generation of our Western slaves who are now basically locked in, and they will be money slaves to these banksters for the rest of their lives. And it's so bad in countries like Canada that, I mean, such utter irresponsibility from our governments. That now that they to make sure that they don't foreclose on the mortgages, they're starting to do basically like infinity amortization, or in other words, you will never pay off this mortgage. You are guaranteed to be their slave forever. We all know we don't live forever. So, in essence, for your entire duration of your life, you are now a golden handcuff slave to these banks. A little bit tragic the way that they've engineered all this, to be honest with you. But anyway, it is what it is. So I guess the point being that we probably, if history is repeating itself, and frankly speaking, I think it is, we're probably actually like sort of in this little window here, the latter part of 1943, 2023. Yeah, Joey, Nick, Joey. That's we all know him, right? Beginning of 2024, notice the inflation numbers come down to the point where about the middle of May, that's about as good as it's going to get. And I've even noticed energy prices, because energy prices are always a leading indicator in this space. Energy prices are weak. And I think that those are actually that's going to be the driver. But you notice that by the time we get to about halfway through, this will be 2024, all of a sudden something changes. And I think what's happening here is, of course, we have a whole bunch of political events coming up in 2024. And the people that are in charge, keep in mind, Joe Biden may seem like he's half dead, maybe three quarters, 80% dead. I don't know, pretty close. But there are a lot of very deep pocket. You could argue that Joey Diamond, right, Nick's buddy over there, he's behind Biden. You could argue that Joey Diamond's actually standing behind your buddy Jerry Powell. You think Jerry Powell's actually pretty powerful, but Powell works for Joey Diamond. To a certain degree, Joey Diamond works for the Rothschilds. So, but the point being that to make sure that they can continue on this political fugazi that they've done to us here over the past 4 years and continue along this great reset, and of course, get us ready for yet another big hyperinflationary wave here in a couple of years, right? Once the election's gone by, they're right in the middle of a mid-election cycle. They can start fucking our lives over again because they don't have to worry about it. Same sort of thing here in China. There is a big political event coming up here for Mr. Toilet Water, the latter part of 2024. I think what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and make our lives as nice as possible. In other words, they're going to try and quash the inflationary pressures as much as possible. I do find it fascinating that, when Biden there was first elected, of course, and, Toilet Water here basically wants to put the energy business out of business. It got so bad a year or so ago that Biden stood up in front of the U.S. Congress and, sort of said, and isn't it wonderful the way that we've got the United States to move away from energy prices and energy dependence? And the entire audience started laughing at him because he's a total doofus. All of a sudden, instantly, I don't know whether any of you are aware, the United States is now drilling and producing more oil than it ever has previously. Wait a minute, I thought these Democrats and all these idiots were all about electric vehicles. And have you seen the price tag of fixing an electric vehicle's battery? If your electric vehicle battery dies after warranty, it's something like $50,000 to replace the battery now. What a joke. I mean, this whole electric vehicle thing was the biggest con job ever. I can't believe how they pulled this off. Anyway, that's here nor there. And this is all politics, and it's all about, Mr. Fink being the largest shareholder of Tesla and him wanting to make, tons and tons of money on the investment. And not really has nothing to do with whether electric vehicles are really our future or not. It's terrible the way our human society works. So, point I would just make here is we know, of course, that the election down in the States is coming up in November. So, could you make the argument that there is political impetus to get that inflation number down, get Joe's six pack feeling a little bit better about life so that he doesn't send Mr. Orange Toupee to Washington and they can fuck around with the election just enough to make sure that Biden wins again because he's got at least a plausibility of actually being reelectable. That's what I think's going on here. So finesse the data as much as possible to make sort of that homemaker in the middle of Virginia. She's worried about her kids and, now paying. And actually interesting to see that the real estate, and I mentioned this a second ago, the real estate market down in the States is actually calming down quite a bit. I mean, the West Coast is still stupid, and it probably will remain this way as long as the baby boomers don't want to live in sort of the East Coast winter weather. But I heard places like Nashville, Tennessee, that the real estate price market went absolutely stupid there. That's completely corrected now. And then of course there's Chris's buddy. What's the guy with glasses that and you remember these people's names? I never remember any of them, but I started to share a certain YouTuber's videos, and he's been talking about how the U.S. housing market needs to correct and is correcting as we speak. So, what's that guy's name again, Chris?
That RJ Talks guy?
Yeah, RJ Talks guy. And I gotta say, he's a pretty smart guy. And in essence, the correction in the real estate industry and the real estate market in the States is happening. And that's a good thing, right? Because what I find fascinating, and if there are any fellow Canadians watching this video, please help me with this. Do you really want to live in a world, if you have kids, where the kids literally are going to grow up, they just even the idea of actually owning your own home is completely beyond expectation. It's completely beyond even realistic conception. I don't think that's a healthy world to live in. You don't want to raise kids like a kid who's like 10 years old in school right now. And, the stupid toilet water leader guy just doesn't give a fuck about his future. And he's got some stupid woke agenda that he's trying to promote and keep taxing the fucking peasants into the ground. Is that really a healthy society to live in? I don't think so. And if anything, I hate to say it, but they always say the markets can remain illogical far longer than anyone can remain solvent. If you cannot live in a society where the participants of the society have no hope of ever owning their own home, it just doesn't work. At some point, the wheels are going to fall off the bus, and the whole damn thing's going to come crashing back down. And you could probably make an argument that things like the pigs nations over there in Europe and the way Ireland had to break apart there 10, 20 years ago, Portugal had to collapse, Greece, all that. They were living under the same delusional sort of political landscape. And then eventually the market told them, well, you just can't keep doing that. And sure enough, everything started to collapse. So I don't think it's really a question of when. It's just or if. It's just a question of when. this Canadian society breaks. Having said that, I'll be very interested to see how this plays itself out here into the end of this year and whether these leftist leaning governments can hold on to control. And I got to tell you, it's going to be one hell of a wild ride if Mr. Orange Toupee happens to come storming back onto the scene and win the election in November. It could turn into one hell of a shit show. So it's going to be a wild year ahead of us, folks. No doubt about it. If anything, what I think they're doing is they're actually trying to forward front run as much bullishness into the market here, into the latter part of 23 as they possibly can. Then we're going to spend, like I said, showed you with that tweet, Mr. Larry Williams. And, this guy's pretty damn smart, way smarter than any of us. He called this sort of top in inflation really well all through last year when everybody was screaming double-digit inflation. His sort of prognostication of what happens typically in election years, I would agree with that probably the first half of this year, it's going to be a little bit of a I actually think it's going to be a little bit of a non-event. Like we'll actually bid up a little bit into the new year on the anticipation that the end of the year is going to be well, January effect, January barometer, all that kind of talk. Then there's going to be some sort of break. And like I said, I think what ends up happening is the inflation data in the U.S. market basically flatlines, like I showed you off that website I just showed you. But I actually think what's going to happen here, in the US market, this is going to basically come down to like basically zero. That George Gammon guy, he's and I don't know whether he's very good at predicting the future over anybody else, but it is interesting that he's barking about how he actually expects to see negative CPI prints. From what I understand, the commercial real estate industry is teetering on the brink. Maybe we see some break there, but I actually think it's the international market. Like you saw what's happening in Argentina right now. I could definitely see a wave of that all across the globe, where one economy after another built on this whole woke money is free. We can just deficit spend till we're blue in the face. That all comes back to haunt them. Same thing what's happening in China. So what you might find end up happening, kind of like what we showed here, 83 into middle part of 84, you see a base. Once we're through the election, then all hell is going to break loose. So this actually, in a weird sort of way, and why am I going on about all this? I don't actually think, believe it or not, that this is actually our bull market. This is ironically enough nothing more than just a reaction from the previous bear. We're not actually in a bull market yet. All right. You say, well, what the hell are you talking about, Brian? Look at that. That's a bull. I'm making money like a crazy. And I'm here to tell you that you could actually make the argument, believe it or not, and I would probably do this if I wanted to sort of figure out where the heck is this thing going over time. Oops. I think you could actually just play connect the dots. Yeah, what's that? $4,000 or $5,000 for a Solana? That would probably make you guys happy, right? And that would be right into our sort of our cycle peak. We're expecting this cycle to peak out somewhere around November. Yeah, we'll go there, somewhere in there. Look at that. 30 G's for a Solana? God, you guys would love that shit, eh? I'm telling you, I think it's coming. And especially, like I showed you, if this is what the gold stocks did through that respective cycle, can you see how you might find that these cryptos, maybe we, I don't know, maybe we back off, reload zones, all that kind of fun stuff, and then we just go absolutely ape shit crazy. I could easily see a scenario like that. I'm curious, about something like a Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin is it's already pretty damn expensive. It's going to be tough to justify bidding this thing up to the moon. And I suppose if we play connect the dots, probably something along these lines, boobity boo to boo. I know that guys like Crypto Chico and stuff like that, they're calling for just 150,000 or so into the cycle peak. Here is that end of that cycle. That's over here. Geez, that's 300,000 bucks, isn't it? No way, that's a hell of a lot more than that. About 100. Yeah, 130. Yeah. So that would be up 300 G's. If you listen to that Michael Saylor guy, he thinks the old corn's going to go up to 500,000. So maybe even 1 million. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if we're up in this neighborhood here. Again, this, and I wouldn't fight this cycle. As we sort of said, there's October, November, so somewhere in there, there's like 300,000. I wouldn't surprise me, folks. I really wouldn't. Again, kind of like what I said there a moment ago. Do we have to have a bit of consolidation here? We've gone straight up. Do we maybe have to just cool our jets a little bit here, do a little bit of healthy pullback, maybe even trade back to this trend line, or excuse me, moving average, and then we launch our way up? I don't know, it's a tough one. But I'm thinking about this. I don't want to get into the predicting the future of what the hell's going to happen here. All I'm saying is this is what I think sort of is what's sort of facing us. You might even want to go something like fog and bombs, right? Fog and bomb from there to there. Boom, 4.669. Interesting. So then if we come back to Bitcoin and we ask, does Bitcoin have any kind of similar price pattern? This one wasn't nearly as deep, so I don't think this is it, but it would be cool if maybe we did something like that, right? We pulled back into reload zones, which would give us a really big range for our fog and bombs. And then 4669, yep, there you are. That would paint up into here. And actually there's March of 26. I'm thinking more like November 26, but that would be up in this area here, I guess. So that's just, that's playing connect the dots off of these highs. I don't know whether we want to go from there to there. Point here is what I'm trying to get at is we're not even really in the bull market yet. We're just playing around in this old bottoming range. So I don't think that you've missed the boat. I know there's a lot of people. And if anything, what I heard from one gentleman yesterday was exactly the same thing that I heard from another gentleman, and he's long gone. I don't know where the hell he is in his life. Just kind of shame because, I invest so much of my soul into all of you. And then you guys just up and disappear, and I never hear from you again, which kind of bums me out. But anyway, I remember there was one guy, I think his name was Adam, and he went absolutely apeshit and just lost his fucking lunch on this move up top here into 61.8 this last cycle. And I've completely missed it, and yeah, you and your stupid W's and stuff. And look at what happened. I mean, the market came right back and kissed that original W. So all of his sort of bullshit about, I missed the move and all that, that's just all garbage. And I might argue it sure feels, especially with the way I was really surprised. On Christmas, somebody fucking is sending me messages about how they're all angry that, I con them out of investing in Bitcoin because you don't know what you're talking about, BMash and all that. And I'm like, it's Christmas for Pete's sake. Maybe wait till the new year before you start bitching at me. I will say, number one, that the most important thing about this that I do here, I do not predict the future. Do not predict the future at all. I am here simply to try and help you see best practices. Buy W's, sell M's, 50% levels to keep you honest. Show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. All those kind of fun conversations. But I'm not in the business of predicting the future at all. What I want to do is I want to teach you how to trade setups, right? Things like that. I guess it's interesting because we got on this vein conversation earlier. I would say that the phase that we're in right now is we are not in the value phase here. We are in the sort of trend following phase, the momentum phase of this move. And when these moves have exhausted themselves, and we've done things like 50% retracements, we've done things like reload zones. Actually, that's not where I want to go. Where I want to go here, I want to show you that link. It's another good example of one. Let's see, do I have it on here? Yeah. Same logic. You can see where the value trade is. And yeah, if you're a little old lady and you're trying to buy value, right, this is where you should have been buying, down here. You want to wait for the W? Okay, fine. You want to just nanny nibble your way along because we are at or below reload zones, right? If we go from here all the way back down here, are we at or below 61.8 to 78.6, right? So great location, perfectly fine. Great. This is the value trade. We're not in that trade anymore. We're in the trend continuation part of this market phase. Can this market keep moving higher? Sure. Market can do any old damn thing it wants. But what you have to appreciate is that this is not like low risk anymore. This is actually, ironically enough, and when I talk about this weekly Bitcoin chart, I often say that we could very easily head up to this big fat round number. We could very easily head down to this big fat round number. Both targets are perfectly legit here. And all it's going to take is, Gensler to say the wrong thing, or Fink to say the wrong thing, or, Biden to say the wrong thing. And this thing can move one way or the other, just like that. I do like the idea, and in the education program, teach you setups. How do you trade setups? What are some of the criteria to look for to consider trading setups? How you measure, I think this is a measured move to a specific price objective. So how am I going to break that apart to trade this effectively? Take $1 of risk for $3 potential reward, blah, 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 blah. Those are the kind of things, that's the value that I'm going to give you. But am I going to say, guaranteed lock, this thing's heading up to $23? No, I'd never do that. I'll just simply say, the statistical odds of this thing working are actually more in your favor than it not working. That's what we are at the end of the day, is we're statisticians. So anyway, I don't think any of the message that I'm saying here right now is anything new. It's just business as usual. What I would say, though, is we do have this fun little pocket here that while the inflationary data is relatively muted and we don't have any sort of crash kind of conversations going on around the world, and especially not in the US hegemony, like if something like the German market breaks apart or China breaks apart, I don't think that'll affect things like the crypto market at all. The only market that this thing cares about right now is the United States and the US economy. So, just slow and steady wins a race. And these things seem to be popping off one at a time. And as long as they keep popping off, I don't think there's any reason to look for a top. So this little C pool, geez, we're going to get ready. Maybe we'll have to bang out another double here pretty soon. That's pretty damn close, eh? There's all of Sjord's names. Sjord looks like an absolute genius here. And, you can come and join the site. Yes, we still have to build this out. I actually have an assistant, but because it's Christmas, I haven't really been too, I got to get on top of this. There's one person on the site said, Brian, I'm pretty disappointed you haven't updated this yet. But hey, there's my shopping list. You've got all the names I've done for the little old lady portfolio. There's about a half a dozen more names that I need to add to this list, but I'm probably going to do this past, like Christmas is tomorrow. If anything, I'm going to finish off this broadcast. I'm going to go hang out with Lily for the rest of the afternoon. Then I will put him to bed tonight. Then I'm heading right back out to the house tomorrow, and I'll spend the whole day with him. So I'm not even going to really be working. And really, when do I get a vacation? I have not taken a break now. Literally, God, I can't even remember the last time I had a break. Chris, can you remember the last time I took like a week off?
Yes, in June.
June. All right. So are you supposed to have that? You supposed to go that long without a break?
Probably not.
So anyway, the point being that this is the little old lady portfolio. And like I said, I've added about a half a dozen more names to this. So I do need to update that. And kind of a fun aside, we had just a totally awesome, where's the best place to show you this? Just a really, really cool session on Friday. And it's interesting that we're talking Solana here because I think that that's what's actually driving this market right now is we had a fun presentation on the site about Solana recently. And by Steven on Friday. It was such a cool presentation. Everybody on the site absolutely loved it. And he got me set up on this Solana now. So I'm having fun in there. And you know how much Brian loves buying W's on other sides of trend lines. And I was actually a bit surprised. The community sort of funded me with $500 worth of this Solana. And I've been in there having fun just buying stuff up. And I bought one on Friday, this potato. And I think I'm owed another fill here. But this is the vulgarities of doing this kind of trading is if it's the futures markets and I can show the regulators a print above my offer price, then I'm guaranteed a fill. And you can see my sell half on a double order was sitting here working at 6,000, and the market went substantially above 6,000, went all the way up to 6,800 there, and they didn't give me any fills, bastards. But anyway, what the hell? Did get sell half on a double off here. So technically this position now is completely risk-free. I got the original capital back in my hands. And what I think I'm going to do in the short term is I'm going to juxtapose this portfolio, and I'm slowly building it out. I've got about a half a dozen names so far, and juxtapose it with I'm doing this DeFi portfolio through the ledger, which is just a pain in the freaking ass. Haven't had much fun doing this. I mean, yes, we are banging out doubles, but holy crap, this is a pain in the fucking ass to do. But anyway, I'm doing the SOL portfolio along with this portfolio. I'm going to juxtapose the two. So the way I'm actually looking at this is like this would be like a $500 position kind of idea. Sell half on double, get your original $500 back. So I'm just playing with the market's money now, that kind of idea. And then I'm going to use the SOL because, like I said, the community gifted me $500 worth of that. I'm going to use that SOL itself as a position. And I think you can see it now. I don't know whether I have this done correctly, but right now I have, where the hell is it? It's one of these. Here it is. 500. There's the original 500. I've got 420 or so still in the Solana. You can see how I've taken like 1.5 of the Solanas and I bought all these little names. And this actually is not a real number because what ends up happening is when you put your orders, your open orders for sale, you can see I've got all the sell have on double orders working already. It knocks the actual balance. So, Brian and his 2 rules of investing, don't put more than 5% of your money. So it was $500. So each of these are $25. But if you put half up for sale, then that means that really the number reported here is $12.50. So you can see there's the potato order. When I sold half on a double, I got the potato money out, and it's just sitting in this, US dollar proxy, USDC here. Could put it in Tether, could put it in DC. It doesn't really matter. The point is I just basically every time something doubles, I'm just going to keep cha-ching, 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 just keep ratcheting this thing up. What was really interesting about this, right, is technically the potato, this is the free portion of that trade. And remember I said I have sell half on double orders working. So technically this is actually $14, $15 right now. And this right here, this is basically about 25 bucks because remember half of it's up for sale, so it doesn't show there. So that's basically where I bought it. This is 26, 27, so it's up about 5% where I bought it. Same thing here. This guy here, he's now what, 20, 30, 32. So he's up about 30, 40% from where I bought it. And of course, Solana's just marching right along. So the point here is that at the same time as I have the big little old lady portfolio, which is sort of like this generation's upscaled, because each of these positions should be like 500 bucks. Some of them are bigger, like Matic. I got a couple grand in there. Link, you can see I got 500. Some of them are actually a little bit low, like Digi. I only have 180 or so in there. This is going to be my trophy, absolute dog. Ubic I threw like 1 ETH worth in that, and I don't even know whether Ubic's even going to survive. But if anything, it's a really good analogy. Number one, don't risk too much money into any one name. So there's a mistake there. But I have a sentimental attachment to Ubic. And then number two, don't expect to be right 100% of the time in this game. It's just, you will sometimes be embarrassed and have dogs. It will happen. And Murphy's Law, the dogs will always be the biggest position you ever put on. Murphy's Law, guaranteed. But anyway, we're having fun with this. And the Ubic, this is more kind of a fun thing, and it's kind of irrelevant. I wouldn't suggest any of you even look at Ubic, but I do have this fun little analogy where Alex probably felt bad for me coming in and buying this, but he did give me an NFT, and I've simply said that if Ubic ever does go to new all-time highs, I will color my hair purple live on air. You can see actually. I've got to sit up a little bit, but let's see. Can I scroll? I can't scroll him down anymore. But anyway, you can see that there is the Ubic character. Actually, there you go. That's full screen. Do I look somewhat similar to him? Pretty close. So if Ubic ever does go to new highs and you see, well, that Beamish guy's got purple hair. I wonder why. Well, there you go. Anyway, I guess is the point that I would make is that we're pretty active. Like, got a whole bunch of little old lady positions rocking and rolling. A lot of these have already doubled. Cripple's doubled. XLM's doubled. Rune, I mean, it's quadrupled or something. OMG's pretty close to a double. Matic has definitely doubled. I think LTO's getting pretty close to a double. Loom's already doubled, tripled. KMD is getting pretty close to a double. Frax already doubled. EOS, I think, is up there. EGLD. Now, this is an interesting one because I'm not quite sure how to handle this. I bought the EGLD through somebody on the site. And when I went on the ledger thing to try and sell this, you can see I'm at my double level, right? And this is actually a really shitty, well, I wouldn't say shitty trade. This is a pretty typical little old lady trade. It's just I forgot to add when I was supposed to, big idiot. I can't believe how many charts set up just the most incredible ad opportunities for me there last fall. And yet I was just like completely frozen. I don't know where I was. Anyway, just a really good opportunity to add to a lot of these. And I only bought half the position. So I was supposed to add. I'm not quite sure what the fuck I did. Anyway, missed a lot of opportunities to make some really, really good money there last fall. And what was interesting was that the whole damn stock market pivoted. Remember this? It was like right on October 31st, right? Remember I had, posted things like the pumpkins in snow, buy when it snows and all that shit. I mean, God, that was an incredible buying window, and I completely missed it. Bizarre. Anyway, everything happens for a reason in this world. Anyway, so here we are at SHOD levels, and I'm not quite sure what the hell to do with this. Yeah, and you guys are all like, well, open up an account on a centralized exchange, Brian, and move the coins over there. But the whole point of this was that I wanted to do this all through the ledger. Then I go on Ledger and I'm like, okay, I want to sell this now. And there's like, there is no sell button. I can buy more, I could transfer it, but there's no sell button. And it's like, oh my God, what a fucking headache this is. So I've got to figure out some sort of solution to this. I suppose when I have my meeting with the team, maybe they'll give some suggestions on what to do here. But it's just yet a good example of, all I did was I mean, look at this darn thing. You tell me, does this have any more room to move up here? I mean, should I even be in a hurry here to actually sell any of this? You can see there's my little note of what I did here with Eddie. But you tell me, should I? And this would probably be a pretty good sort of trivia. Should I be in a big hurry to do anything here? Does this thing have any room at all to move up here? Any room at all? Could I like literally buy a Lambo just by, what? This is the same thing as SOL, right? You saw SOL is coming up to its 50% level now. I mean, maybe what I should do is just, I mean, like I said, I'm always a demonstrator of best practices. So I think it's a good idea to do things like sell half on a double, get yourself into a risk-free trade, and then you don't have to worry about this thing doing nothing for the next year or two while you're waiting for this to happen. But I mean, look at that, eh? Is there any more money to be made on a name like this? That's still, even from current levels, that's 10x from current levels. It's almost funny when you see stuff like that, eh? So this would be a really good example. This is what I mean by, I don't even think the bull market has even started yet in this crypto space. It hasn't even started. So what I think probably is going to happen here is this thing will probably, maybe we hit 877s, who knows. Then we'll come down and we'll have to go through a period of cleaning up. It might be following the halvening event, might be into the halvening event. I don't know. Again, I don't really want to get into the business of predicting the future, but what I'll just simply say is if we can get a pullback into reload zones, how ironic that my favorite fib and where it's probably I'm going to want to be a buyer down the road, wherever the heck this thing tops out. Notice that box doesn't really move a hell of a lot. Maybe we top up here at $100,000. Maybe we top at 84. You notice that reload zone doesn't move a hell of a lot. So, wherever the top is, I think this is going to be a really good opportunity that, this is going to be, you bought your first car here. and maybe you shod up here. So then you get your original money back. Then it pulls back into support. Then you can buy your second car. And you just keep doing this. Every time it pulls back, you just keep adding another car, another car, another car. Every time you get your original money back, and then it pulls back into reload zones, add another car, rallies up, maybe sell half on a double, maybe you sell half on a double. This is now actually selling half on a quadruple, right? That's the next sell level. Then reload again for your third car over here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in fact, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a name on the SOL. And it's kind of funny that, we're having so much fun on this. Like, it's like, and, for whatever it's worth, we have a ton of different trading rooms at TRI. So we do have one room in particular, our little old lady room, because this is basically where we do all these, buy on reload zone dips and all that kind of fun stuff. And so people are talking about, oh my God, I can't believe how many damn cars I'm getting on these names, because they just keep pulling back into reload zones and they just keep reloading. But I mean, these guys are just having a great old time. Anyway, look at that. Wow, nice job, the Matador. Look at that. Now that's trading like a boss, eh? Come in, buy against the bottom end of the range. Look at him selling halves on doubles, selling halves on doubles. Just a total boss. Nice job. And we pull back, just reload. So we have like a whole community of little old ladies that we're just having a great old time in this Solana. It's ridiculous what's going on here. And I mean, look at some of these names. Look at this Kusama. Oh my God. Look at that W down there. Remember I said there earlier, man, I missed some absolutely incredible buys there. This is one that slipped through my fingers, so wasn't able to get in on it. But fuck me, look at that money. And this is what you're here to learn how to do, folks. And how ironic. Do you remember back here in October, November? What were the experts saying about shitcoins through here? I distinctly remember one guy in particular, and I even marked, I said, the day I saw this guy say that, I was like, that is your indication. You better go in and load up on shitcoins. And he was like, there's no reason to ever buy a shitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only cryptocurrency to ever buy. As soon as you hear people talking like that, this shit's about to happen. And do you see how this is going to be the process of convincing all those people that listen to that guy that, hey, you know what? Maybe I should participate a little bit in these shit coins or altcoins or whatever the hell you want to call them. And the irony of it all is they're going to be coming in, buying the tops, and then they're going to sit underwater forever. And they're going to be like, oh, God damn, I made the same mistake again. If anything, what I have to caution all of you is, for God's sakes, don't get sucked into the FOMO here. This is, like I said earlier, I'm having people sort of sending me messages saying, Brian, I'm getting a little bit impatient. I'm getting a little bit frustrated. I'm missing the boat. And I got to say that if you weren't, ready, willing, and able through 2023, I was barking at the public. I was barking at all of you. Take the opportunity to buy, load up, right? And I didn't even load up as much as I wanted to. But I did do a lot of buying. And, like I said, a lot of these names have already doubled. But that doesn't mean you can come in and buy them now and expect further doubles from here. If anything, that's a bit dangerous. I'd also say, too, at TRI, Sjord, our CTO, he has sort of his fundamentally vetted names that he believes that these kind of names can very easily do things like 100Xs. Some of them have already gone, and unfortunately, he's not able to get into because the price is just too far away from sort of value levels. But others, of course, he's loaded up fairly heavily. And some of these names like Ruin have done very, very well. But, same sort of thing. You can't chase this stuff. If you didn't buy before, you got to wait and be patient and wait for weekly W's and all that kind of talk. But the point here is that we do have both fundamentally vetted screens. I guess we're calling it, so this should probably be investment, crypto investment. And then we have the little old lady portfolio, and there should also now be an SOL portfolio, but that's part of the little old lady portfolio. I'm not quite sure where Stuart's going with portfolio one, portfolio two, and all that. But the point here is that this stuff is on the site now. So it is going to be polished over time. Maybe it doesn't really look very sexy and not have a lot of sex appeal. But really, the most important thing is you've got the names, right? You can add them to your watch list. When they start Wing out, then you can start going in and buying. But wait for the Ws. So we do have quite a bit of what do you call it? We have a lot of irons in the fire, and I am, willing to add to positions. I just don't know whether I really like adding, as we're coming into things like SHOD levels. I can't add to a trade like that, and I can't tell you in the public that it's okay to buy that. I can't. It goes against everything that I try and teach you guys. That doesn't mean there aren't names that you could consider. I mean, I have been bought some of this guy recently. Can you see the W? I don't know whether you can. Can you see the W? What happens if I go? Can you see the W? And the irony of it all is that I'll mention this to somebody and they'll be like, meh. I'll show them this chart and they'll be, that's the one that I want to be in. But you've missed the move. Well, the W on Kasama was, geez, right there. I mean, it was just killer. But, that guy, I wanted to buy this guy recently and I couldn't get anybody on the site to help me because remember, I'm in this stupid fucking ledger hell. There was one person I thought was going to help me pick some of this up, but it never worked out. So anyway, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable about paying up there. I was willing to buy in here when we were against these W, especially this W here, but I can't pay up for that now. So fortunately, it does look like I missed it. I missed a lot of really, really good buys here, but it's the way it goes. Can't touch that. This one was interesting. Last Wednesday, we had the Coinigy show. And we even talked about, as we were doing this show, the market was breaking out through this huge W here. You could, I suppose, considering where this thing has come from, is it realistic to go in and buy that W there? Yeah, it's a bit high. But if anything, use this as a nice litmus test. If you sort of draw the entire range and you put on like a 50% rule, because remember, 50% rules for grannies, this is going to be sort of your take profit area. So if we're down here, is it realistic that if you do buy down here, you can double your money if we hit 50% levels? So this was $2 and that's 586. So I think to a certain degree, you could use that as your litmus test that if we do get the 50% bounce, then I am able to do the SHOD. And so it's justifiable paying up for that. That one was a bit tough, but nonetheless, W's are W's are W's. And the good part about this guy is that's now like a big weekly, maybe even a monthly W. I think probably the actual W was there, breakout. It actually confirmed, and you really should have been buying all through this area here. But, hindsight's 2020. Point of the matter here is you can't buy that now. It's gone. See you later. Interesting one. This is a monthly. Look at the size of that monthly W. And what's really interesting about this one is look how there's W's within this W. And this is what you really want to hunt. So if you can find this scenario right there, oh my goodness. Because really what this is this is basically a reload zone. All right, right down in there. A big fat W comes in, did not break to new lows. My God, that's just the most beautiful buy signal you're ever going to see. And sure enough, what do you think? Was that a good buy signal or what, eh? Holy moly. So now that we can change this to a monthly chart now. This is also too, I think this is getting into the conversation that you think that the bull market's well underway, and I don't even know whether it's even started. What I would like to see with something like this is, we did this reload zone. Why don't we do another one? And we get a pullback into the spring. Maybe, around my birthday is probably going to be the next sort of really good buying window. 78.6s, 85 cents. I'll be watching that like a hawk. And I even put out tweets, I guess messages, and Joe retweeted, just saying there's no reason why you can't come along here and just throw in like 1% of your portfolio bids. And on any kind of weakness, back into reload zones, you get filled. So there's 5% risk. You're loaded up, getting ready for the next big run. You've got a huge monthly W to work with. Makes perfect sense to me. So I don't think it's in your best interest to start saying, everything's just going to go straight up indefinitely. I would say that these markets have gone up quite a bit. Same thing here. You could say, well, what's a 50% rule? Is this really normal what this thing has done? Yes. I mean, this is just business as usual. Rallied into wicks. The trap bulls obviously getting released right now. And then on the subsequent pullback, right, what I would even expect, you can see reload zones here, but just like we did 50% up, no reason why we can't do 50% down. So if you have like sprinkled bids all the way along here, then maybe we only do a 50% correction and then the thing starts heading back up. At least you got some on the books. So I do like that kind of thinking. There were a few others that were moving up nicely. I don't think this guy's really done anything, which is, this guy here, there's another one. He's just sitting. You can see the double bottom. This is an interesting one because one of the major exchanges just delisted them. But the interesting thing is if you go over to the website and all that, I don't think they even give a shit about the West. They're like all Chinese and stuff. So I do find it interesting that Binance related name, it hasn't moved an inch because frankly speaking, I think it's their Asian backers. They couldn't give a fuck about Coinbase. Suck my dick, Coinbase. That's Mr. Fink's playground. And I get the impression that actually international boundaries are actually being drawn here on crypto. So Americans, Canada, China, all that bullshit. Unless you can play the DeFi game, that's half the reason why I have to do this DeFi shit and deal with the ledger and all that, trying to do transactions on chain and stuff, is because of my stupid fucking leaders. They're such assholes. And they're like intentionally working for the monopolies to guarantee the monopolies' business model. Wait a minute. I thought we were free in the West. Isn't this? How does that your country's expression go, Chris? The home of the free and the land of the brave, or something like that? I mean, there is nothing like that here in China. You are the home of fucking communist dictator, oligarch, shithead, uh, overlords, and just get used to it. But I thought down in the States, I thought that there was some sort of, we're free. We're free people here. But the more I see it, the more the Americans and the Western society, we're just as much as slaves as any person living under communism. It's exactly the same, just different pile, different labels. It's kind of sad, really. Anyway, we are having a meetup in El Salvador in February. So maybe consider popping on down to El Salvador and come on and check out Bitcoin Beach and all that kind of stuff. And maybe Brian will visit and just decide to stay. I don't know. There's one thing that's holding me here in Canada, and you all know what it is. And I swear, I don't know what God's punishment is for me. I don't know why he's done this to me. Because when I was younger and stuff, I used to live in a sailboat down in the Caribbean. I wouldn't have a problem just picking up and moving to El Salvador in a heartbeat. But I've got this special needs child that, is just, he is my life and he's the only connection I have to my wife. And I just can't, he costs a fucking fortune to maintain and just keep going. And they always say, this is hell. And so they've actually crafted my prison cell around the fact that I unconditionally love this child and this human being, and I can't abandon him. I just can't do it. And the sad thing is that, like my father, fuck, he could abandon his kids in a heartbeat. In fact, he shipped us off all to boarding school, had complete strangers raise us. So, I mean, it's ironic, this world. I don't understand it. But anyway, point is, in February, we're going to go hang out with TBG on the beaches of El Salvador and get to know Bitcoin Beach a little bit. So maybe join us. Consider that. As I said, there are other names that are popping. Here's another one that you can see where my SHOD level is. And it's still a little bit a long way. Again, I don't know where the fuck I was, but man, sure missed an incredible ad opportunity down here. And had I added, I would have been, my average cost would have been in here. I probably would be shotting right now. I think I got so discombobulated over the whole ledger thing that if anything, I was absolutely over the top tickled pink when Steven set me up on the this platform. I mean, look at this. This is a cool one. This is SHDW versus Solana. This is actually a really nice harmonic pattern. And it was fascinating how price came right down to this harmonic level and just pivoted on a dime right here. I love this name right in here. That looks so freaking awesome. Versus Solana, which is interesting. That's not versus dollar. That's versus Solana. So I don't know what that means going forward, but I went and picked some of that up. And, the fees on this stuff, very, very low. So I'm actually feeling much more optimistic about the space and prospects going forward. So anyway. All right, let's see. I'm supposed to, what time is it? I got 15 minutes till I have to head off to Lily. So crypto space is pointing back up again. We might see Bitcoin take another run up top. As I had sort of said in the headline here, on a weekly basis, it does look like Bitcoin's just going sideways. So not really a hell of a lot to add to the equation. As I had said earlier, risk is basically, in my opinion, skewed both directions. Try and find the names that are Wing in reload zones. That's where I think the money is to be made. And kind of like that potato. I mean, you never know. If anything, the expression is that the shit always rises last. So if anything, maybe it makes sense why we're having so much fun in Solana land right now. All these little names moving up nicely. I think my next double on this wife is, I think it's at like 80 or something. So we're moving our way up there. There's that shadow. He's looking interesting. Looks like potatoes done its rally, which is too bad because like I said, if this was the classic stock market, I would have been bitching and complaining, going, "Where's my fucking fill? Give me my fill." But this is DeFi, or I don't know whether this is DeFi or not. This is Solana. I'm not quite sure what the name is. You're supposed to use this, but no fill for you. But anyway, the good part about this is at least we're having fun in this space again. I can't tell you that ledger and using all that to try and do trading. Not a good idea. The fees on Ethereum just way, way too high. More frustration than anything else. So I'm super excited that we can play in DeFi or in this Solana again and have some fun with this. So we'll see how it goes. I should be able to bang out the doubles as they come in, but once I do get into a risk-free trade, I think I'm probably just going to leave these names. I haven't really been too aggressive selling any more following. So it's just going to be, is this a risk-free trade? Yes or no? And just leave it at that. And then just keep adding the names, just keep recycling the capital back into new names, and just try and build this up as much as possible into the 20, late 25, early 26 cycle peak. As we said, I think Solana is definitely going to be the sort of topic du jour. We had some cute little lower time frame setups. And if you want to sort of, this was my conversation earlier about how do you participate in names and stories that have been working away. Well, you have to think trend continuation. You have to think that, kind of like I showed you with the link. And I think I showed you a couple. I mean, we could do the SOL. It's the same sort of logic. I'm getting off topic now. One thing I'm a little concerned about is, can you guys see what letter of the alphabet does that look like? Do you see how the new people did trading? They're probably coming in and they're getting themselves into a bit of trouble here. I think what I did for social media was I said, clearly your bottom on Solana is like way over here. So if we go like 4 hour, there's your W's. So how do you play this as it's moving up? And specifically, somebody had asked me, well, how am I going to play this through the weekend? So what I just simply did was I just said, well, maybe this is a range. And remember our bot, we need to see at least 33, but no more than 66% correction for this trend continuation trade. So there's 33 there. That's pretty close. This would be sort of like aggressive. So we could go there to there and there to there. And notice, oh, look at that. Did we just hit the bot objective? Pretty damn close, eh? So interesting. Look how 25 is set up right off of that W. So looks to me like that's a better part of a trade there. The one that I did for this site, sort of talking people through the market here this weekend, was I actually drew up this one from, was it there? No, that's not right. Let's try this again. We'll do it from scratch. Boosh. So let's go 30 minutes. Will that work? Yeah. So what I did was I went from this low. So that way you can kind of see we're definitely hit 33. Got a whole bunch of lows to work with. So I drew there to there. And then projected that off of the low. Do up your bot levels. Bot trade set up nicely off of this W. Gave you a whole bunch of opportunities. Nice inside bar there. Nice fractal there. Lots of railroad tracks there. So plenty of opportunities to get in off of that. And then notice here is the bot price objective. Oh, only one. All right. And I think you ring the register, spoon feed up in this area, and this kind of feels like chaos. What do I mean by that? If we go just even from there to there, and we go chaos, boom. Notice 4.669, 2.618. I also do. I think I did one off of here, and this was like 2.618 right in there. Yeah. So I do like that from that consolidation through here, that 2.618 up into here. I really like that as a price objective all up in there. So what if I was day trading this? And it was interesting through the weekend. There was a tell actually. And if you want to learn something, you want something new to add to your tool belt, this is a really, really cool tell. Notice the high here. 99.99. Now, what's our rule about big, fat, round numbers? Do markets want to trade to them? Answer is yes. So the fact that this thing traded to 9999 and then pulled back, that actually is very, very bullish. Because in essence, what this is saying is there's the big fat round number, but we're going to consolidate below it. We have not hit it yet. And we know that big fat round numbers like to be hit. So the fact that we ran up just underneath it and then consolidated it, actually, the market was telling you that it really wanted to go up into here. And now it's actually going to use 100, that big fat round number. This will now actually act as support. And they can even dip it down below, and we haven't broken down. This is actually key technical support lows here going forward. So that's actually a really, really good tutorial, if you will, on how you can listen to the market. The fact that we rallied to 9999 and we did not hit 100, and then we consolidated. I remember specifically, maybe somebody watching on YouTube can inform the rest of the audience. I remember specifically, I posted in the lounge and I posted in the little old lady room in this room here. I suppose we could probably scroll up and see it. But I specifically said, this is actually extremely bullish. SOL chart now, oh, that was supposed to be looks bullish up top here. Actually, this wife, man, that thing looks awesome. And you can just see the kids. I mean, look at Zugi. What a bastard. Just knocking wins out like crazy. Look at Steven.
Merry Christmas, baby. Happy Merry Christmas, Hana Kwanzaa.
There's Zug. I suppose Zug just got paid a lot of money over the past few days. So
today
congratulations, sir. But I mean, you can see these guys, they're just having a blast in here. They're just having so much fun. So anyway, if you want to have some fun, come and join us. And yeah, these guys, they're banging out winners right, left, and center. And I want to call my congressman. Why did I not get a fill here? That was right through my level. What the friggin' fruck? Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. So anyway, I guess the point that I just make is that somewhere in all of this, maybe Zug, you can attest to this. I don't know whether you saw or not, but I was commenting. Look at these charts. Look at DDBB. DDBB, he's a pretty good analyst. MLN, look at that. Oh my goodness. So I don't know. Did somebody ever talk about W's on price charts? Can you see the W on the price chart? It's staring you in the face. Look at this pretty OBV too. Good God. I'd just be curious. Let's see what the hell this thing did. MLN. It's probably gone now. Oh, it's still sitting there. You know what? I might just go buy some of this. That's a good idea. Nice W's. I don't know. You tell me. Does that thing have any room to move up at all? And really, this is the secret to making money at this game, people, is you have to try and find these names when they look like this. The irony of it all is that if you went out into the public and you asked the public, well, here we are down here. What do you think? Is this a half decent investment idea? I would be willing to bet 99 people out of 100 would say, no way, don't touch it. And yet I look at that and I go, holy crap on a stick. So if anything, DDB, I hope you all can see, like half of the reason why I built this site was because there's no way one person in particular, like in one person can see the whole damn market. And what you need is you need a community to all be working together, to all try and help each other. You can see there's me posting my ideas. You can see all the various different members of the community. Right? Somebody obviously got off a win on potato. So we all work together to try and help each other make money from trading. I mean, we're all hunting for these ideas collectively. And the good part about it is that, we're just risking our own money. So there's no way that somebody's going to come on. Actually, there's our Glass Insights. He's even participating. But there's no way somebody's going to come in here and start touting an idea that, or say something like, hey, go and buy Solana here. You're guaranteed to make money. Because the rest of the people in the group are going to be like, who the fuck are you? Why are you acting like this? Why are you saying stupid things like this? Right? They're going to be showing you those MLN charts. This is what you want. I can't tell you. I mean, just finding a community where these kind of ideas are shared and nobody has a vested interest to screw you over or promote anything. They're just, hey, look I bought this. I want to make money from trading. It's kind of like the EGLD kind of stuff. There it goes. There's no way I'm going to tell somebody to buy this now, right? If anything, I want to try and take some profits in here, of course. Hey, maybe Zug, you can help me on this now. I don't know where Eddie is. I think he's traveling to Romania or something right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll poke you later on about that.
Yeah, do it. I was going to mention because I have a wallet that is specific for EGLD, so I can send you. We can sort it out. Just message me later.
Score! There you go. All right, that's 1 + 1 = 3, folks. And if anything, that's probably an absolute perfect note to end this rant on. Hope you guys enjoyed the offering. I hope I was somewhat enlightening. I don't know how I do it, but for some crazy reason, I just talked for like 2 hours there. Hey, you guys over there on YouTube, did you guys get any value out of all this? Anyone? BB over there saying check out LYXE. Oh, all right, I guess LYXE like that. Look at all this DeFi stuff. Oh my goodness. Well, suppose KuCoin will give you an exchange look. Oh boy. Oh man. Yeah, it's all right. So, I'm gonna reserve judgment. It's probably nothing I'd be interested in. I mean, do you know the fundamental situation? I don't know what this is. LYXEETH. So I don't even know what the hell I'm even looking at here, dude. Why? L1 LYX, and then there's LYX Luxo. I did that E, something else came up. I don't know whether that's the same thing or not. Uniswap. Yeah, I tell you what. If you are a site member, come on over, and we'll review this in the daily brief tomorrow. And keep in mind, Monday to Friday, we just sit and chit chat, do exactly this every single day, daily videos. We do a quick little free sort of market summary video at the beginning, but then we have our after party, which is really cool. Like I said, last Friday's after party, oh my God. Yeah, that was worth the just that one video alone with Steven was worth the cost of a site subscription. That one video alone. So, all right, I'm gonna head off and try and give my boy an awesome afternoon here. So PMA for the win, slow and steady wins a race. I wish all of you best of luck in banging out doubles and triples and quadruples. And I guess we'll see everybody in the market. Don't take no wooden nickels. Remember what your number one job is. Wow, look at that. Oh, geez, I could spend all day here just going through. I tell you, I'm kind of bummed I never got in on this spell because I know this thing's going to go crazy. As soon as fucking starts coming back, this thing's going to go nuts. I mean, look at the range on this thing. Has that thing got any room to move up? You can already see. I've already got the rants going here. It's just I never got around to buying any of it yet, though. Ah, oh well. Okay, have yourselves a great day. All the best, hugs and kisses. Consider joining our education program in the new year. I think it's probably a really good investment in yourself. Get your act together, get your plan together, get your capital together. Try and figure out where it is you're going to trade and how you're going to trade. Maybe you got to relocate to El Salvador to make sure that you can. I think there's a lot, I mean, a ridiculous amount of money to be made in this space. Like this is a really good example. There is so much money to be made in this space, folks. And we've all been patient. We've waited. Like this past year and a half, 2 years has just been crap. Somebody even asked me recently, Brian, are we back into easy mode? And I said, you know what? We're almost there. I'd say once we're on the other side of the halving event, and there should be a nice healthy correction through that. Once we're into that window, that I think is your last sort of buying event window to set yourself up for this big honking bull run that's coming. But you tell me, is there any room for this stuff to move up here? So get your act together. Let's all get rich together. Give yourself permission to get rich because it's coming. The question is, are you going to be there? All right, everybody. All the best. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. The only thing left for me to say to you, good people, is bye for now.